Welcome back to my channel. Today we discuss about the crammer's rule. This rule is one of the matrix method where we solve the equations, right? First, let's look at the equations. Here you can see that these two kind of general equations, right? In the first equation is a1x plus b1y is equal to c1, and another is a2x plus b2y is equal to c2. These are the general equations. We need to solve them, right? For example, we can see here, if you look at these two equations, we can compare. In the first equation, a1 means 1 here, and b1 means 3. And what is c1? That is 8. And in the second equation, you can see the a2 means 3, and the b2 means minus 2, not 2, remember, it's a minus 2, and c2 means 13. So remember, these are the general equations. Okay, a1x plus b1y is equal to c1, and a2x plus b2y is equal to c2. These are the general equations for all the equations. Now we need to solve these equations. So how do we solve it? For that, we first need to understand few things here. Okay, now in order to get the value of the x, this is a d1 divided by d. You must be wondering what is d1 and d2. D1 and d, right? I will tell you later. And what is y? Y is equal to d2 and d. And remember, very important things. D should not be equal to 0. If d is equal to 0, then there will be no solution at all, right? So how to get the d first of all? Okay, d is it's a determinant of the, it's a coefficient of the x and y. Let's look closely in the equation, general equation. You can see I'm just taking the coefficient of x and the coefficient of y in both equations. So that is a1 b1 in the first equation and a2 b2 in the second equations, right? So d means it's a coefficient of the x and y. Now the next, d1 is equal to c1 and c2. What I did here, let's look closely. I just replaced the coefficient of the x by the constant, right? So I replaced a1 a2 by the constant c1 and c2, and the b1 b2 is the same. No need to change that. Again, I repeat, what we need to do in order to get the d1, you have to replace the coefficient of the x by the constant c1 and c2. Similarly, in order to get a d2, simply replaced b1 and b2 by the constant. a1 a2 is the same. We replaced b1 and b2 by the constant c1 and c2. I hope it's clear. Okay, and here I hope it's clear. Okay, how d1 and d2. Okay, now let's look at examples here. Look at here. There's a two equations we need to solve by the crammer's rule. The first equation, x plus 3y equals to 8, and the second equation, 3x minus 2y equals to 30. Now we are using the crammer's rule, and I have just already discussed about how to find the x and y using the crammer's rule. So I have written on the right side everything here, d, d1, and d2, how to get that. It's clear for you that how to get them, right? And remember, very important, d should not be equal to 0. Now, first of all, we should get the d. I told you that how to get a d. It's a coefficient of the x and y. Look at the coefficient of the x and y. In the first equation, coefficient of the x is 1 and the coefficient of y is 3. So it's a 1, 3. And in the second, it's a 3 minus 2. I hope it's clear. You know how to get the determinant. Let's check closely. We just get the determinant by multiplying 1 times minus 2, okay, in the main diagonal. And then after minus, then 3 times 3. It's clear that how to get the determinant, right? So let's get the answer. It's a minus 2 and it's minus 9. And that is equal to minus 11. And which is not equal to 0. That means we have a solution, right? So now let's get a d1. I told you in the d1 we should replace the coefficient of the x by the constant, that is 8 and 13. Look at closely. I have replaced 1, 3 by 8 and 13, right? And the rest 3 minus 2 is the same. Let's get a determinant. It's 8 times minus 2 and again minus and 13 times 3. So that is equal to minus 16 times minus 39, and that is equal to minus 55. Okay, let's get to d2. How to get a d2? I told you. So we should replace, okay, the b1 and b2, that is the 3 minus 2 by the constant. Look at the d, 3 minus 2, I have replaced it by 8 and 13, okay? And let's get a determinant. It's a 1 times 13 minus 3 times 8, okay? And that is 13 minus 24, and that is equal to minus 11, okay? Now, let's get the value of the x first. We know x is equal to d1 and d. So let's keep the value. D1 we have got here is minus 55, and d is minus 11. Let's cancel minus minus, and we got just 5 here. How to get the y? Y is equal to d2 by d. What is d2? D2 is minus 11, and d is also minus 11. So what's the answer? That is 1. Okay. Therefore, what is the value of the x? That is 5. And what is the value of the y? That is 1. It's so simple, right? Now let's look at another one questions. That is 5x plus 3y equal to 21, 2x minus y equal to 4. I hope You can solve these equations. I've written the answer also. X is equal to 3 and y is equal to 2. So are you going to try this one?